Hey guys, Pawnce here, and now that the Poppy rework has hit live servers, as you can see I'm playing her on NA right now, so one of the live servers, I just thought I'd go into this sort of self-indulgent rambling monologue about my thoughts on the whole rework. For just kind of simplicity's sake, like we're writing, a term paper or something, let's get my base premise out there right now. That I don't like the Poppy rework, but it's probably a decent addition to the game. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Um, the reason I don't particularly like her is she doesn't suit my particular playstyle, despite being sort of a bruiser-ish type, which I'd play a lot of. And the reason for that is the best analogy I think I came up for with the new Poppy was that she's basically a more defensive support-like version of Scion, meaning she's not really going to hard carry in solo queue that well. I mean, she can carry decently, but not like that well. Not even Scion has issues like really hard carrying, but at least he has like sort of an engagement tool, like with his ult, and he kind of can force the issue and make things happen when you're with a team that doesn't want to do anything. Whereas Poppy is more so like a defensive counter engage, sort of a counter punch champion where you sit back and wait, and if you have a very patient, you don't really want to attempt too much and kind of want to play with your team, she tends to work better in that sense. It definitely feels like sort of like as you sit back with your carry, you can put your shield up, prevent dashes. If anyone gets too close to you and you set up fight in the jungle, you can slam them into the wall, you can ult people away, that kind of idea. Whereas Scion would be more so about you kind of ult into the enemy team out of nowhere, you tank the crap out of them, and you kind of prevent them from getting OCC, and your team sort of follows it up. So it's not like hard carry in that sense, but at least you have a lot more agency, I feel, in that sense, because you're making things happen. You're not waiting for other people to make things happen. Now, the other reason I compare to Scion is sort of a base similarity in kit. I mean, sort of Q is this smashy thing that has delayed damage. W is sort of a half defensive, half offensive sort of utility kind of thing. Well, not so much utility, but half defensive, half offensive, I suppose. Heroic Charge is sort of this CC-like, I guess sort of, utility is sort of CC-ish, damaging kind of thing. And the ult is sort of like the inverse, whereas, again, Scion goes straight in with his ult. Poppy sends people away with her ult. It's similar-ish in the sense that they're opposites, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, and so again, the problem I'm finding is that it's just the less agency a champion has in terms of how they can force what you want to do on the enemy team, the more trouble it tends to have in solo queue, because solo queue is, unfortunately, a lot of the time just sort of doing everything on your own and kind of making things happen, when other people don't want to do anything. Now, the other issue I'm having with Poppy is that she's not, like, despite being a bruiserish, like, kind of mash into people and fight in lane kind of champion, she's not really the strongest at it. She does have the at least sort of some poke options, like, with the passive like that. But, it's not exactly the most reliable thing. It's got a massive cooldown. And when you kind of mash into people, she tends to lose unless you're fighting directly by a wall. If you're fighting directly by a wall, I imagine that, it mirrors, or at least resembles, the old Poppy, where if you get slammed into the wall, you're probably dead. Which the new Poppy does seem to, do to an extent. But the problem with that is, once people know to not stand by a wall, they don't do it. If someone is standing by a wall, that is their incompetence. And I don't like that as well in terms of when you're fighting someone. It's not so much, again, it's a lack of agency. It's not like I did something really cool and I'm in a position to slam on the wall because I out-positioned them. Anytime you slam someone into a wall, unless you surprise them in the jungle or something, it's simply a fact that they misposition. You have to actually wait for them to get out of position for you to slam them. You're waiting for them to do something as opposed to you doing something, and I don't think that feels really, really good personally. There are some instances, where you could do something, again, even in lane, like, maybe you tower dive them in conjunction with a gank, and every, 4 or 5 minutes or whatever, you can, oh my god, flash, something like that. But I mean, that's dependent on a flash cooldown. Not really my favorite thing to do. So, I don't know. Again, it's just, I'm going. Here's the thing. Like I'm sounding really down on the rework, and I don't think it's a horrible rework. It certainly is better than the old Poppy. I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video, but because half the people who comment are just like not going to watch the whole video. It's like, well, it's better than the old Poppy in terms of a balance perspective. And when I say better than the old Poppy, I don't mean actually better than the old Poppy. I mean like from the health of the game and sort of to fit into the actual modern game of League of Legends, this new Poppy is much better. The old Poppy was this kind of weird, janky, balances all over the place. The skills didn't make any sense, and you're going to be crap for the first half of the game, but if you don't get completely slaughtered, you're going to be this unkillable god by the end of the game. Like, it's not good. But the thing is, if you were really good at Poppy, like really good, and you mained it, and you could slog through that early game and come out at least even, you would really hard carry, like really hard carry. And then the new Poppy doesn't seem to have that at all. Now, granted, these experiences they are from the PBE, so they are, I suppose, colored by that. The PBE experience, for those of you guys who don't know, the PBE is rather ironically an awful place to test the game, because the games are so terrible. Now, having said that, I did play the champion a lot, and I don't need, if I play that many games, I do get a good sense of how things fit into the overall game, and I've been doing this long enough, and I can kind of tell. And again, I think my sort of defensive counter-puncher, sort of like support Scion, almost like, analogy is an apt one. That said, I didn't actually play her as a support. I kind of probably should have tried that, and maybe that'll end up working out or something. I mean, it probably won't be absolutely ideal. It sounds more like a niche pick than anything. But anyway, as I said at the beginning, this was going to be kind of a rambling sort of thing, and I delivered as promised. Those are my sort of general thoughts. Again, she's not a horrible champion, and I think the rework overall, from a conceptual standpoint, and in terms of how she fits into the game, or sort of a role that can be filled in the game now, that does work out. But from an I want to win, murder everyone, and hard carry games, with a very efficient sort of kit, like sort of the way I like to play. Again, so this is a very personal perspective. I don't like it in the least bit. It just really reminds me of playing hard tanks or support in queue, because again, that's what she sort of is elements of support and tank and a top laner with lots of money. But given that she is a top laner, does in certain instances have the ability to sometimes sort of shine and kind of carry. So I'm going to get the hell out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm off to go stream on the live server now, and as you might be able to guess, I probably won't be playing much Poppy. Although I don't actually mind playing her in the jungle too much. I much actually prefer her in the jungle. I think it's more interesting with her kit. And maybe I'll experiment with support once or twice. But I wouldn't count on too much Poppy, specifically if it's the top lane. Anyway. Alright, I'm going to get the hell out of here, guys. Again, description below, twitch.tv/Pawnce if you're interested. See you guys around.